welcome back to Corbin's Coasters and More. I am in London, here at Universal Studios, Florida. Now, one thing you might have seen behind me is King's Cross Station. This is the Hogwarts Express. This is where you can get that photo op with you walking through platform 9 3/4. There's actually a ghost effect there that, with a picture, you can make it look like your friend is going through that. So, oh, and to ride that, you do have to have a 2-park pass for Universal Studios, so you have to be able to go to both parks because it's actually a transportation ride. It is not just your normal flat ride. So we're in London, so maybe you can guess where we're going to be next. Right, we're in the newer of the two Wizarding Worlds of Harry Potter. We are in Diagon Alley, and as you can see, it's the home of the Wizarding Bank. It's also the home of Ollivanders, Flourish and Blots, and of course you got Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. So all the things from the book. The Leaky Cauldron is the food here. I haven't eaten here, but I have eaten at the Three Broomsticks. Pretty much the same menu. Pretty good fish and chips. All sorts of magic going on here. Yeah, you can actually go in a lot of these storefronts. And so this is Ollivanders on a Monday. Yes, there's a line. A long line. There pretty much always is. Now there is also a wand show. This can get you a show to choose your wand. It's kind of personalized. And then the one ride in this area is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. 45 minutes is actually extremely low for this ride. It's almost always 2 or 3 hours, especially on busy days. So with that interactive wand, just as in Islands of Adventure, there are plenty of places to use it around the park to make magic happen, as that kid did. Here you can actually exchange your human money for wizarding money. Basically a gift card, but it's only for use in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in either park. They do have a couple stage shows here as well, including the Beetle the Bard, and then there's a singer. And then over here at the Hopping Pot, another place from the movies. At the Hopping Pot, you can get your butterbeer. They also have quite a bit of other stuff. I'm not a huge fan of butterbeer. I know a lot of people are. They also have a Peachtree Fizzy Pumpkin Juice Gilly Water, Fishy Green Ale, Otter's Fizzy Orange Juice. I really like that one. That one's like cinnamon and orange and Sprite. Something different. Now, the line always gets long here, and you can mobile order. It's one of the few drink shops that you can mobile order on. more thing you have from the Wizarding World is the night bus and the driver and the shrunken head, and actually talk to each other. Back out here in London. And then over here, little Easter egg in London, Grimmauld Place. Just recognize the address, 13 Grimmauld Place. 13 Grimmauld Place is Sirius Black's house. Sometimes you see Creature lurking around up here. I haven't seen him today. I tried knocking on the door, so it might just not be working today. And I'll see you at the next land. Walking up on one of the most fun games in Universal, and it's free. So it's a shooter game, but it's not one of those like you see everywhere where you're shooting a screen, or you're shooting random 2D cardboard things. No, you're actually shooting aliens, like audio animatronic aliens, and shooting the other team that's against you. So it's actually pretty cool. And actually, the single rider line is open. That's pretty cool. It's one of the most prominent places to get your refill cups refilled for free after you pay for it for the day. Or also over here where there's usually not a line. Anywhere where there's a fountain drink, remember this: free water, free ice water. Now it's been hard to find today, quite honestly. They've shut down a lot of these because they're a little bit slower today. So I'm extremely thirsty, especially talking this much. But it looks like I found something here. So yeah, any of these kind of stands with the fountain sodas, you can get a free cup of water by request. And here we are in Krusty Land. The one thing about Universal Studios compared to Islands of Adventure is most of the lands here really do only have one major ride. Now this one does have two rides, but only one of them you'll probably want to ride. The Simpsons Ride. This one used to be Back to the Future many years ago, about 10 years ago. Now it's the Simpsons Ride, and it's actually a really fun ride. It parodies Disney World, so if you really like making fun of Disney people, yeah, it'll make you happy. It's funny anyway. The ride is a little nauseating. I didn't say it earlier, I do think the best ride in the park is Harry Potter, the Gringotts Bank. I think that's a really fun ride. It's kind of a roller coaster. It's technically a roller coaster. It'll count if you're counting credits, but it's more of a dark ride. A really good dark ride with some of the biggest screens I've ever seen. Then this is the other ride here, Kangen Kodos Twirl and Hurl. It's probably what I would do if I rode it, so yeah. It's one of them I've never rode. And then you got some super themed shops and restaurants over here. You got the Quickie Mart, you got the food court with Cleto's Chicken Shack, you got Moe's, where you can go get a flaming Moe, which is non-alcoholic. So it's basically orange soda that has dry ice and makes it look like it's on fire. Then they do also have a couple specialties over here. They have Buzz Cola, which is like a diet cherry cola. Really freaking good. I liked it. I got it with rum, and it tasted very nice, better than Coke. And then you got your Duff and your Duff Light, which are somewhere between a Budweiser and a Yingling. Like, they're not as low quality as a Bud Light, not as high quality as a Yingling. And then you can also get the big pink donuts either over here or in the Quickie Mart. You can get your Krusty Burger. And then they've got Bumblebee Man's tacos. I've never had any of this food, I'm going to be honest. Usually when I'm here, I like to either go for, like I said, the kiosk, or I like to go, which this is kind of a kiosk, or I like to go for the big time stuff, the City Walk restaurants, and I still haven't tried all of that. And I review those as I go. Look at that, that's cool. The DeLorean time machine. Who knows if it's the actual one. This is a cute show over here, animal actors on location. It's actual animals from movies. And they do interact with the audience even during COVID. So that's been nice. That's one thing I'll say about Universal Studios, specifically this park, is that they do have a lot of shows, and almost all of them have been going ever since they reopened last June. They never really stopped doing shows, and they actually opened up a new show, which I'll show you in a moment. But for now, we're going toward Kidzone. Woody Woodpecker's Kidzone. This area, I'm just going to be straight with you, is sad. You get the little bit of SpongeBob here. All it is a store. They do have a lot of SpongeBob merchandise, but that's it. You won't see SpongeBob anywhere else, which I think is a shame. Then you have the only original day one ride still standing with E.T. Adventure. This one is a kiddie ride, but it is very nostalgic. I think most adults will like this one. It's boring, sure it is, but it's a nice air-conditioned ride. It's about 4 or 5 minutes long. Usually doesn't have a long line. I would recommend you don't wait in a line for it. If it's like 15-20 minutes or less, go ahead. Now, I'm filming this during COVID. We're in May of 2021. So a lot of this still is not open back up. Now, they had construction walls up last year. Before they decided they were going to build Epic Universe, this was going to turn to Nintendo Land. But that is no more, so this crappy kiddie land is still here. You got Fievel's Playland. Will your kid know who Fievel is? No. Is it a good theme? Not really. Over here, you got a big old sack of nothing. It was the Barney show. Is your kid gonna know who Barney is? Probably not. Your one roller coaster credit you're gonna get over here, and you do not have to have a kid to ride this one. It is better than Flight of the Hippogriff by quite a bit. I rode it with my friend last time he came. It's actually a decent kiddie coaster. It's more like a big kid coaster, like a 7 or 8 year old, you know, introduction to coasters kind of thing. So I don't mind it. I again do think that the Woody Woodpecker theme kind of dumb. And then you got this water play area themed to Curious George. I guess this one's an okay theme, and at least they went all out with this one, and it looks like a storybook. So that's Kidzone. Before, and I'll say it again, I think if you have kids, this is not the park to go to. I think go to Disney or go to SeaWorld or go anywhere else really, because Universal doesn't have much for little kids. And I'm talking little kids like 2, 3, 4, really under 48 inches. There's just nothing here for them. In this entire park, basically, they have E.T. and this nut house coaster and a little playground, and then the pet show. But I mean, I guess they could ride the Simpsons Ride, but they're not gonna understand the Simpsons, I don't think, at that age. I mean, they're not gonna think it's much fun. So not much for little kids to do. Now 7 or 8 year olds, yeah, there's plenty to do here, and for teenagers especially. Teenagers and adults will probably prefer Universal to Disney overall, looking at the 2 parks versus the 4 parks. But it's hard to average it out, because with Disney, Epcot is so different from the rest. Here, there's some big differences between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. One being that Islands of Adventure has a lot more thrill rides. Universal Studios is more about entertainment overall. You've got a lot more shows. You got a lot more family-friendly rides that you don't have to be a thrill seeker to like. So we're going to go look at the rest of the park. That's pretty much it for the rides, but there's a couple shows you need to know about and that get skipped up just because, yeah, who knows if they're actually good, right? So we'll go up to toward the front of the park. One thing you may be asking about is Universal Express. Is it worth it? I've answered this in long form a few times. I'll put a post up to the video where I answered it really in full. It's not really worth it. But if you stay in one of the luxury hotels, so either Lowe's, Sapphire Falls, or Portofino Bay, or the Hard Rock, then you automatically, you and your whole room, get express passes included in the price of the room. So the rooms are very expensive, even for luxury resort standards, usually $400 or $500 a night. But those express passes run as high as $300 per person. So if you're going to stay here at a hotel and you're going to buy express passes anyway, then go ahead and stay in one of those nicer hotels. But I would never suggest... Oh, also, you can upgrade your season pass to the highest tier, and you get express pass after 4, which is pretty cool. That's what I have. But there's really, I think, never a time when you should pay $300 or even the cheaper, because they're priced based on demand. So if it's only $99 that day, that means you really don't need one, because the waits aren't going to be over 30 minutes or 40 minutes for most of the rides. And if they're $300, that means, yeah, the lines are going to be long, but is it really worth, say you have a family of 4, that's $1,200 extra per day? Yeah, I don't think that's worth it. I think if you're in that much of a hurry, do one park. You don't have to do both parks. You have Universal Studios. I'm showing you everything here. It's almost impossible for me to fit this into 2 15-minute parts. There's really a lot to do here, even at one park. So I would suggest, if you think you really need that express pass, go ahead and just go to one park for 2 days instead of one park each day. This NBC Media Center, it's interesting. They do like film studies over here, so they'll like sit you down to watch a movie and they'll give you $100 or whatever. It's rarely open, and it's normally not for locals. This is the first time I've been back since Mardi Gras has ended, so this feels very empty. For the last about 3 months, there's been tons of floats in the street and about 15 different food stands. This is the last spot. This is Hollywood. So, looks like all the shows are done for the day. But right here is where Marilyn and the Diamond Bellas currently are. That's a Marilyn Monroe themed show. I don't think it's worth waiting for. It's fun street performance. They also have little character cavalcades that come out here throughout the day. Sometimes you'll have a chance to get your picture with the character. That's something you don't really see at Islands of Adventure so much. But over here, there are actually a lot of character interactions, especially on the weekends. Then you have the horror makeup show. This is actually a really cool show. So you see how makeup artists create amazing special effects, and they show some behind the scenes from the monster movies. But it's also a comedy, and there's different hosts for it. Sometimes Beetlejuice is your host. That's the best. But I've seen male-female duos. Depending on your host, it can be kind of funny or extremely funny. And the jokes are different every time I've been, which I think is the sign of a good show. It's not exactly the same every time. Pass Holder Lounge is over here at Studio Styles, and you pick up your pictures right next to that. And then they have ice cream on the other side at the pharmacy. So here is honestly my favorite attraction in all of Universal Studios, the Bourne Stuntacular. I think it's even better than the Harry Potter Gringotts ride. It is a show. It's about a 30-minute long show themed to Jason Bourne. Now, I don't like the Bourne movies. I think they're boring. This is an action show with literally set tons that weigh up to 13 tons. It's got one of the biggest LED screens in the world, and the actors interact with the screen in a way where you can't even really tell what's real and what's not. The buildings move right along with, or the physical set pieces move right along with the screen, and it's live action. It comes on about every 45 minutes most days. So I mean, most days you're talking 8 to 10 showings, and it is different actors. Again, I've seen different actors just about every time I've been, and I will say it's about a year old at this point, And I've seen it, I think, 5 or 6 times. I've only seen it work completely all the way through one time. If you get lucky enough to see that, you're in for a treat. Even when it breaks down, a lot of it's because of these set pieces in the screen. It's complex. Even when it breaks down, it's still a really neat show. There's fire, there's wind effects, there's water effects. I can't describe enough how much you should not skip the Bourne Stuntacular. And then up front they do also have a Hello Kitty and a Marilyn Monroe store, Betty Boop, all that girly stuff that I don't really care about. And the one restaurant that serves breakfast all day is the Today Cafe. You might want to know that. It's one of the less busy, less expensive restaurants as well. It's right here at the front of the park. And there's one other thing that you should see up here. In my opinion, Studio Suites up here at the corner by the entrance is the best place for a treat. They have homemade fudge and cookies, Rice Krispie treats. And as with a lot of things here, it's a little pricey, but it's nothing crazy. And this is actually part of the main studio store too, which I actually never knew until just now. But it's a nice little sweet store. So in summary, the best place to get a treat is right here at the Universal Sweet Store right at the front. Best place for souvenirs, also the Universal Studio Store. Really the same store, but a different entrance. The best roller coaster, Rip Ride Rocket, no question. The best ride, I think, is Escape from Gringotts. But the most fun ride might actually be Men in Black, because you actually get to shoot things and compete with your friends. And the best attraction overall in here is the Bourne Stuntacular. Cannot stress enough how much you should see that. Oh, and best food would be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter as well. So, I hope you enjoyed this tour of Universal Studios Florida. I hope it makes you actually want to come out here. I have been to the one in Hollywood. This one is just so much better. Honestly, it's you can't really compare the two on quality. A lot of the rides are the same, but there's so much more here, and it's split up in between 2 parks. So I say you come out to Orlando, give it a try. Almost at full capacity right now, so it's a lot of fun. So thanks for watching Corbin's Coasters and More. I'll see you next time.